สวัสดีค่ะ Welcome to Cofact Live Talk. Today we are at Songwat. Songwat is just like a hip place in Bangkok with our special guest, Kuno Horikuchi. Horikuchi. Thank you for joining us for Cofact
so
Live
much.
Talk.
Yes.
And actually, you've been with us for 3 days, 4 days now.
Yes.
Okay, so why are you here? So we did a workshop, right?
Yes.
To introduce your classroom adventure products, which
Yes.
called Raise Block. You said that it's a tool for helping students to understand deepfake, disinformation, and to understand more media literacy, right? Kindly talk briefly about that.
Yes, of course. So Raise Blog is a game that we play inside of schools to teach about media literacy and fact checking.
Yes.
The main thing that's different about Raise Blog is that it's an experiential educational program, and it uses a gamified experience to teach beyond what conventional media literacy education has been able to reach. So conventional media literacy education kind of always stopped at critical thinking. So a lot of media literacy education revolves around the ability to critical think towards misinformation.
Yes.
But there isn't anything beyond that. You're just told to doubt information, and you don't know what to do next after you doubt the information. Raise Blog goes a little bit beyond just critical thinking, where we teach verification skills. And once you have a piece of information that you are critical about, that you think might be false, we also teach through games
Yes.
how to verify that information to see whether it's true or not. And I think this verification skill gets more and more important as AI and things like that become prevalent, where there's so much misinformation that us fact checkers won't be able to cover all of it. And so we want to go beyond that, where we teach the students how to verify information rather than giving them what is true and what is not.
Okay. So I mean the process is also important.
Yes.
Rather than maybe the end result that media or other people find the result for them, but now you encourage like student or each individual to take part in that, having that skill through the game.
Right.
And actually the games is a DNA of Japan, right? So I mean everyone love it or what?
Yes. So we use a lot of like anime style like
Yes.
storytelling, and we use like mystery games and all of that sort of thing that's kind of like Japanese culture, but something that anybody in any country can enjoy. And so we incorporate that kind of fusion together in an experience that can be kind of enjoyed by anybody around the world.
Wow. Actually for Thai, I myself, we also grew up with Japanese anime at the times like Doraemon. So we all love them. But now in digital age, so people playing more games online. But it's good tool for younger generation. But maybe it's still hard for my generation. But it's fun after we learn the other days.
Yes.
And so this product is actually for anyone. So you need to subscribe, or how people could use these tools.
So we partner with organizations to provide our product. So you can't really go online and just start playing our programs. If you are a school or like an organization like a library or like a government organization, a teacher, then if you can contact us, then we will do like a 1-hour meeting to give you step-by-step instructions on how to use our program in schools or in like a event hall or in any place, and we will teach you how to use it, and you'll be able to license the program and be able to use it in anywhere you like.
I see. Okay, we will give the contact later for people who are interested. But now come back to the issue of Cofact and collaboration with Classroom Adventure.
Right.
Last year we doing a Gen Asia contest, like urging young generation to participate in fact checking challenge, and we will continue doing this year, right?
Yes, I am very excited to continue Gen Asia Challenge. Originally it was a competition that Google was doing, but since 2022, Google has decided to kind of step away from fact checking, and so we got the domain passed on to us And so we've continued the trend of teaching fact checking through competitions. And since then, we've had many countries added into our list of partners. And this year, we're expected to have, I think, 8 countries now in 2026. Hopefully, we can keep growing this trend, movement, yes.
We'll keep you updated, especially for university students can join us like last year, and it's fun actually, and people can learn skill for digital verification. Yes. Okay, since yesterday is International Fact Checking Day and the day before is April Fool Day, so and Cofact and Classroom Adventure we focus on working to promote digital literacy and countering disinformation. So in general, yesterday you talked about this problem. How you conclude the situation of disinformation, especially in the artificial intelligence era? You think is threat more coming, or actually anything should be more concerned about the situation right now, especially come from the Gen Z perspective?
Yes. So with introduction of AI becoming so popular and so normal in society, I think the trends to focus on right now, especially for us who's working in information integrity, is on consumer behavior, and the other thing is about AI malice. Malice meaning like AI dangers. The first topic about AI consumer behavior changes is maybe like 5 years ago, the king of getting new audiences and reaching a new audience with your information was through Google search.
Yes.
And it was through social media ads and things like that. So if you had money, you could put up social media ads and you could deliver your information through Google searches, because so many people use Google search, and the top information that comes off on Google search was basically thought of as truth. But now consumer behavior is changing rapidly, where AI overview, for example, Google AI overview, is kind of taking over, where especially younger generation like Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they're not really searching and looking at articles or searching on Google and opening up sources or data, but instead they're looking at summarized answers that Google AI provides you, and they just take that as true information. And so the trend from here would be how we as like information integrity movements like Cofact, like Classroom Adventure, people like fact checkers, how we can put our information into these AI overviews so that those AI overviews don't get overrun by misinformation or by harmful information.
Okay.
And so one of them is about consumer behavior and how we need to be aware that people are moving away from just looking at articles. So fact checking can't really end with just articles. We need to go beyond that to target AI overviews and things like that to be able to actually come up in those areas. That's the first thing. Second thing is about AI malice. AI makes making misinformation very, very easy for anybody, basically.
Yes.
You can have one prompt and you can create fake websites. You can have one prompt and you can create fake, photos or videos. It's democratized being able to create high quality information. At the same time, that also means that there's going to be a lot more high quality misinformation being spread at a rate that we've never seen before.
Okay.
And so we need to be able to see that coming and be able to respond to those changes very quickly.
Yeah.
Misinformation isn't just about political information, but also things like scams and stuff like that too. So
and that's
they're all
even more
evolving.
dangerous. Yeah.
Exactly. So we need to be aware of that. I think those two.
Yes, when talking about prompting AI, I heard recently they said that this day we do not only need critical thinking, but we need critical prompting.
Yes.
It means you have to really know how to prompt. It's like
Exactly.
crafting, It's
Right,
not
right,
just
right.
like Yeah, otherwise you will even add more the disinformation
Exactly.
and the system learning. Wow, that's not easy. So that's why it needs to be trained in school through many tools like
Yes.
the game and maybe other tools. And we talk about the scam. One is scam is beyond disinformation to sometimes cyber crimes, computer crimes or
Yes.
digital crimes. So, but in Asia, from the statistic we have in Thailand, it seems that in Japan you have less problem than us. Why is that? Why people in Japan being less scam? Maybe you said that it would be a problem in your country too, but
Yes.
compared to Thailand, it's huge problems.
Right.
Why you protect yourself from this scammer? How?
I think the main thing is not because Japan is doing anything special to combat those cyber crimes, but it's just language barrier at the moment.
I see.
I think that's the reason why. It's becoming exponentially a problem in Japan. Japan used to not be a target for cyber crimes
I see.
because you had to be able to speak a certain level of Japanese to be able to scam people in Japan, right?
I see.
If you tried to scam people in Japan using English, it would never work. But with the introduction of AI, it's become very easy to speak that level of Japanese to be able to be trustworthy enough to, scam some people out of money. And so right now, Japan's kind of hitting a crisis where being able to speak Japanese used to be an advantage to protect yourself against cyber crimes, but now it's becoming a loophole where
Okay.
we're not really resilient to people who are able to speak Japanese, and therefore we're becoming a very big target right now. So I think it's just a matter of time.
I see.
And slowly, Japan is probably going to be one of the biggest countries that are going to be targets of cybercrime, and we
Wow.
need to be resilient about that.
Wow. And the government and the other sector are preparing about this. Then
We're trying right now, but we're very, very far behind, I think. So, countries that were always speaking English have a very high resilience towards cybercrimes because all the scams were in English, and you had to be able to decipher between what's scam and what's not based on language and language quality, but based on the content of the scams.
I
But
see.
Japan doesn't really have that. And so right now we're working with, the financial sector, the cybersecurity sector, banking, retail, all of these sectors. We're working right now together to create, experiential educational programs together to combat cybercrimes because it's 100% going to be a very big problem soon. And we're definitely not ready right now for that change.
Okay, all the best for that. But hopefully the law enforcement or regulation in Japan that
Yes.
somehow would help protecting people more,
Right.
and the rest it will be the cultures and individual literacy,
Right,
and
right.
community support, especially for the elder. Okay, then come back to talk about scam. But actually, Japanese people have lower rate of sharing disinformation compared to Thai and many country in Southeast Asia.
Oh, really?
Why is that? Maybe you don't have culture of sharing everything you
I think
receive,
so.
right?
The
We are
internet
lying
culture
or
in
what?
Japan is a little bit different, I think. We're a lot more private. We're a lot more scared of sharing personal information as well.
Yes.
So almost nobody uses social media with their real name, and it's very hard to track whose account is whose.
Wow.
And a lot of the time, you don't even know your parents' accounts because your parents, first of all, won't be using it with their real name, and there's no reason to be sharing your social media accounts with your parents
Wow.
in Japan. So one reason probably is privacy, where the way that we use social media is a lot more personal and private compared to, I think, other countries. And the other thing is, I think there's a taboo in Japan about talking about politics a lot of the times. So people don't openly talk about politics in Japan too much. That's the same on social media. And people kind of refrain from talking about not just misinformation, but politics in general is a taboo topic that you don't really talk about openly, especially where your name is like connected to that account.
I see.
And so those two are probably one of the reasons why misinformation doesn't really get shared. At the same time, Japan still has problems like that. We have small bubbles of communities, a lot of communities in Japan that are very small, and those are, they're literally filter bubbles. Each one of these little communities are filter bubbles that are sharing each other their own information, and that creates a lot harder movement to track, and especially to fact check, because you can't be targeting each of these small communities because there's millions of them.
Okay.
And so in other countries you probably have a larger, like a party level community that's a source of misinformation. But in Japan it's these small communities that are all kind of connected and separate together at the same time that is sharing information, and it's a new challenge. It's a different challenge that we're facing in Japan.
And maybe people still trusted media as well, right? How about the mainstream media, professional media, still be a trusted source for people?
Yes. Mainstream media is very trusted in Japan. We have like the national, NHK is like a national broadcast station. They're very trusted by basically everybody in Japan. Even like most newspapers, newspaper and TV is probably still the most trusted source of information in Japan. And I think corruption for these media companies is taken very seriously in Japan. And so the citizens are the ones that are, keeping check of these media companies. And so I think we're very strict about having truthful information come out. At the same time, on social media, it's a lot looser. Social media is where all the misinformation gets shared and spread.
I see.
And so there's a very stark contrast between information by media and bigger organizations that are taken more seriously versus social media, where there's a bigger filter bubble and smaller communities that are sharing information inside of each other and sharing misinformation.
Great to hear that. And then, and what is the source of social media that's popular for younger generation?
Oh, with social media? I think Instagram and stuff is the strongest in younger generation. When you go a little bit older than my generation, like maybe 25 to 30, it's Twitter, or X. X is very popular. I think X.
And my generation?
Facebook. But it's very, I think Japan is very special where X is very popular. So everybody uses X in Japan. I think user population wise, I think Japan is maybe first or
anonymous,
second.
Maybe you don't need to have to real identity.
Exactly.
But you can express opinion.
And I think Japan likes text-based social media a lot more rather than like Instagram or like photo-based.
Okay.
So that's also a change that you see. But yes, X is very, very, very popular in Japan.
I understand that, but television and newspapers still also a trusted source of people in general when they want to receive news. So that's why. That is good though. Okay, I think a lot more to talk, but maybe next opportunity.
Of course, yes.
Now, to end this conversation, thank you so much for joining Cofact
Thank you so much.
in workshop and international fact-checking day conference.
That's amazing, yes.
Yes, and we love to have you again next time. But now to end this, maybe you put any final word like an recommendation, advice for Thai, especially in dealing with disinformation, because the topic yesterday is about lost information, and this information become a global risk.
Yes.
So we feel vulnerable sometimes because there's an information warfare, there's scam, there's a rumor. It seems that in Thailand we cannot trust anyone right now. So people feel vulnerable. So what your advice and maybe recommendation for Cofact community as well?
I see. I think it's very hard and also very scary. It's very scary as a younger person navigating this very rapidly changing world. I think with AI coming out, you have no clue what's real, what's not, things like that. There's so many things going against us right now. Especially younger generation feel very locked in this sort of societal structure, but so many different problems that are going against us. But we're also the generation that's most native to this technology. We're the generation that's most digitally native. We know the most technology. We're the most fluent using online slangs, online communities. We have this whole different power that other generations probably can't even imagine of. So I think that might be the only advantage that younger generation has at the moment, other than maybe youth. Youth is a very strong, being young and being energetic is a very big strength. The one other strength that you have is that you're so much more digitally native than any other generation on earth right now. And so I hope that the younger generation doesn't get intimidated by all of this new things coming out and all of this global crisis and stuff happening. It's very scary, and at the same time I hope you don't get intimidated and that you use that advantage that you have of your digital native and your digital literacy to overcome these things and to use that to empower yourself and move in a different path that people above us, people in older generation didn't really have the chance to go through, because there's so many new paths that are open for us right now, and there's so many things that you could do that you couldn't have imagined of if you were born 10 years earlier or 5 years earlier even. And so I hope that for digital native younger generation that might be watching, that you find that niche path that you can go through with your digital literacy and your digital expertise, and use that to your advantage and move forward.
Thank you so much. So how to say fact checking in Japanese?
Facto check.
Facto check. Facto means fact, right?
Yeah, facto check.
Fact in English, but it's in Japanese word or Japanese word.
Fakuto.
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 Ah, it's similar to fact actually.
Yeah. It is. It's fact into katakana. So fakuto.
Fakuto means fact. And
Yeah,
check.
and then check is check.
Cheku. Fakuto. Cheku.
Yes.
Okay. Don't forget fakuto cheku. Wow, that's nice. Thank you so much for joining
Thank you
good
so much.
conversation for Cofact Live Talk
Yes.
at the cafe called Matcha Maru. Thank you so much for allowing us to using this place. And matcha is good for, I have to fact check, Thai people love matcha these days, and actually it's good for health. It's true.
Really? I don't know.
Anti-accident or not, we have to do fact checking.
Yes.
We used to do fact checking program on whether matcha is really good for antioxidant, and we asked the expert. They say that yes, of course, but again, don't drink it every day.
Right.
You have to be moderate in everything, even though it's good for health. But that doesn't mean that you drink it for as a medicine. It's just a drink, right?
Yes,
Yeah, it
exactly.
could be good food and drink it themselves. They are already good for health, but you have to make sure that it fits your body. For example, if you are not easy to sleep, don't drink too much coffee.
Right.
Matcha. But many people say that even I drink coffee, I can sleep, right? That you're a coffee lover.
Yes,
you
I
have
like
no
coffee.
problem, right?
Yes, I have no problem. I sleep very deeply.
Okay, so actually it depends on the individual. Sometimes information spread out online, even about health related issue, doesn't mean that it could good for anyone. So before you believe or share those information, of course, you have to check first from the expert that it could be credible source, or even it's good for others. It doesn't mean it's good for us as well. It apply to other issues like politics as well. Sometimes you have to distinguish between fact and opinion and feeling. Sometimes it's mixed together, and people defend their opinion as their fact, and that's become a problem.
Yes.
And beyond that, it's more than a lot of things we're facing in the world. But of course, we're getting lost in this information, but we have to stand up with fact and our own wisdom, and it means we start from digital literacy and from individual. And if you need tools, you come to things like Blog, okay?
Yes, exactly.
Check out information to Classroom Adventure in Japan, and we will work together and keep you updated. Again, arigato, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Until
much.
next time, ขอบคุณค่ะ Matcha Solidarity.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.